Hi Keerthi, you seem to be very happy today. Don't you know budget announcement? Up to 7 lakh, no, there is no income tax, no need to file return also. Who told you that? It doesn't work like that. Yes, it doesn't work like that. In this video, I am going to explain what are the 3 important changes which are introduced in budget 2023 and how it is going to affect your income tax liability. So please watch it till the end, and if you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe. The first concept is tax rebate. Many people are confusing tax rebate with exemption limit. So they keep thinking that the government has increased the exemption limit to 7 lakh and we don't have to file income tax return at all. This is not the case. See, a tax rebate means it is a benefit which is given by the government to us. In the first place, there existed some tax liability. But because the government said that I am going to do it minus, that's why it becomes nil. In the first place, it was not zero. To give an example, you might have had a tax liability of 100 rupees, but the government said, no, I am going to make it minus 100. That's why it becomes zero. It was not zero in the beginning. That's why if the income is exceeding the exemption limit which is prescribed under the old or the new tax regime that you are going to choose, you have to file income tax return. So either it is adjusted against the tax which is due, otherwise it is going to be refunded. Let's understand this with an example of 7 lakh and apply the tax rates of the new regime. So it is 3 to 6 lakh 5%, 6 to 7 lakh it is 10%, and plus cess it will come around 26,000. So under new regime you have a tax liability of 26,000, but because the government has said up to 7 lakh there is a tax rebate, now it is going to be minus 26,000, which will make your tax liability nil. So this also means if your income exceeds by even 1 rupees, say you are earning 7 lakh 1 rupees, that means you will not be getting the benefit of this rebate and you will have to compute the tax liability according to the applicable slab. So according to the old regime or the new regime, whatever you have chosen, you will have to compute the tax and pay the tax. The second point is where everyone's confusion lies, right? Which is best, old or new? How to choose between this? So let me make this work easy for you. I am going to take 2 income level and certain deductions with some assumptions and explain the concept to you, so you will be in a position to understand and make the decision as which regime is best suitable in your case. Because there is definitely no one size fits all solution. It is completely individual case specific because it depends on the level of your income and the deductions that you are going to avail, etc. Let's see how I have taken the deduction. I took standard deduction of 50,000 and under ATC 1,50,000. Under ATD, I have assumed that you're paying the health insurance premium for yourself and for your aged parents 60 plus. So it is 50,000 plus 2 lakh interest on the housing loan, assuming that you have taken housing loan for the construction of your house. And rest of the exemptions and the deductions I have ignored for this calculation. For example, HRA, etc. So if you want, you can increase or decrease the deduction according to what is available to you. For example, if you have HRA, you can include, or if you have made any donation to the charity under ATG, which is eligible for 50% or 100% deduction, you can add it here also. So my deduction is 4.5 lakh. The income level is 7.5 lakh and 12 lakh. So let's start with the income level of 7.5 lakh. Now, when you deduct 4.5 lakh deduction, I am getting 3 lakh. Under old tax regime, I have to pay 5% tax on it. But because there is a rebate, I don't have to pay 5% on 50,000. So my tax liability is nil. And let's see, if we bring this 7.5 lakh rupees income under new regime, what happens? Now under new regime, see 7.5 lakh, there is a standard deduction of 50,000. So 7 lakh is a taxable income. 3 to 6, I have to pay 5%, 6 to 7, 10% plus cess. So there is a tax liability of 26,000. Now let us take 12 lakhs of income and see what will be the tax under old regime. See, as per this calculation, there is tax of 64,500. Now let's see what happens under the new regime. For 12 lakh, under this deduction and set of assumptions, we have to pay 85,800. So definitely the tax is more in new regime. Does this mean that tax liability will always be more in new regime? Definitely not. It all depends on your income level and exemptions, as I said earlier. I kept this particular income point as well as had taken only 4.5 lakh deductions. It might differ with people. So when the deduction level is more, definitely it is going to bring down the tax liability under old regime, because only under old regime you are allowed to claim this, right? So if the deduction is less for you, then old or new, it is not going to make more difference to you. Now, whatever the tax slabs that I have discussed, this is going to be applicable when you file the income tax return next year, July, that is 2024 July. Why is that? The financial year starts from April 1st, 2023 and goes till March 31st, 2024. So, whatever is the income tax liability which is arising in this year, you are going to file the tax return in next year, not the coming July. Why? The budget, whatever the changes which had been introduced in 2023 budget, it cannot be immediately applicable so as to impact your return which you are going to file by this July. Means, just think, your TDS has been deducted, everything has been done, right? So it will totally, create a lot of confusion in the existing system. That's the reason. So please remember, the financial year is 2023-24 and the assessment year is 24-25. Third point, everyone for this matter, including me, kept thinking that government at least this time might increase the limit of ATC, which is long due. But it has surprised and taken a stand and made its intention crystal clear that we want a taxation system which is hassle-free and less complex. Quite simple. We don't want all this investment linked deductions, exemptions, where everybody, whether it is you or your employer, is under stress to maintain endless list of documents, receipts just to prove certain point. So in order to incentivize people to adopt the new regime, it has already come up with the concept of tax rebate up to 7 lakh. But is it enough? That's $1 million question. Can we really have a system where there is no deduction at all except the standard deduction? Why this question matters? Because in a country like India, we did not have overall level of income or very high growth of salary, etc. And many people cannot afford to construct the house. They are still living in rented house. So if there is no deduction, for example, for HRA, can we really afford to have that kind of system? Time has to answer. But if you look at the merit, really it is totally hassle-free. There is no headache of maintaining any kind of receipts or documents on your side. Besides this, one important thing to consider is all these investments which comes under ATC, they also have their own demerits. Take Sukanya Samruddhi Yojana for example. That comes with lock-in period, right? And the rates are always revised every year by the government. See, what happens, we always do not understand the time value that our money has got. So for example, if your 1 lakh is locked for 7 or 8 years, then you are not even in a position to withdraw that money and it gets only 7% or 8% of income. Actually, it doesn't make more sense. You can grow that money for in that time period in much better way somewhere else. In fact, the choice of where to invest money, whether to spend or how to invest, should be with us. It should not be forced upon us. Do you agree with me? So whatever is the merits or demerits, one thing is very sure. Going forward, within few years at least, government is slowly going to fade out the old system and incentivize everybody to adopt the new regime. So it is high time for everybody not to link their investment plan and tailor everything according to the tax deduction which is available, and to take control of our finance, plan for the financial stability, security by ourselves. Do you agree with me?